The diner was nothing special. Time-scratched wooden tables, simple chairs that creaked faintly, and yellowed light fixtures hanging from the low ceiling. The smell of French fries and seasoned burgers filled the air. It was the kind of place where nobody pretended to be more than they really were. Ethan Sterling was sitting at a table near the window, watching his son chew on fries with the typical concentration of a 5-year-old. Liam had ketchup on the corner of his mouth and smiled between bites, swinging his little legs under the table. "It's yummy, Dad," Ethan smiled back. "That's great, champ." He didn't dress like a billionaire. Dark jeans, a plain gray shirt, comfortable sneakers, nothing drew attention, and that's exactly how he preferred it. Away from the spotlights, away from the endless meetings, away from the weight of the Sterling name. Here he was, just a dad having dinner with his son. The door to the diner opened with a gentle jingle from the bell hung above the entrance. 2 figures walked in. A blonde woman with her hair pulled back in a low ponytail. Simple clothing, faded blue jeans, a slightly wrinkled white shirt, sneakers worn at the toe. She held the hand of a little girl the same age as Liam. The small child had bright, curious eyes, blonde hair falling over her shoulders, and wore a light pink jacket that was already too big for her. Ethan noticed the way the woman looked around. It wasn't the look of someone searching for a seat. It was the look of someone checking if it was okay to stay, if this place was safe. She walked toward the counter with cautious steps, her daughter by her side. "A cup of water, please?" she asked in a low, almost embarrassed voice. The counter attendant nodded and grabbed a plastic cup. He filled it with ice water and handed it to her. The little girl tugged at her mother's shirt hem with small fingers. "Mom," she whispered. "What is it, sweetheart?" "I'm hungry." The voice was so quiet it almost vanished into the diner's noise, but Ethan heard it, and so did Liam. The boy stopped chewing and turned his head toward the two. He looked at the little blonde girl, then looked at his own plate, full of fries, juicy pieces of burger, and an untouched chocolate milkshake beside it. Sarah took the cup of water and led her daughter to an empty table in the corner, away from the bustle. She sat across from her and lovingly ran a hand through the little girl's blonde hair. "Drink a little, okay? We'll eat at home later." Lily held the cup with both small hands and drank slowly, but her eyes kept drifting toward the other tables where people were eating burgers, pizzas, and crispy fries. She quickly looked away, as if she knew she shouldn't stare. Liam put his fork down on the table. "Dad." Ethan turned his face to him. "What is it, son?" The boy discreetly pointed toward the corner table. "That girl is hungry." Ethan followed his son's gaze. He saw Sarah trying to distract her daughter, talking softly, smiling despite her tired eyes. He saw Lily swinging her legs in the chair, too quiet for a 5-year-old. Liam looked at his father with that strange seriousness that children sometimes have when they realize something important. "Dad, can I share my food with them?" The question went through Ethan like a silent electric current. He blinked, surprised. He hadn't expected that, not in such a direct, pure way. For a second, he just looked at his son. Liam waited for the answer, his brown eyes wide, full of genuine hope. Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. Pride, tenderness. He put his hand on his son's shoulder and smiled. "Do better than that. Invite them to eat with us." Liam's face lit up. "Really? Really?" Liam slid out of his chair before Ethan could say anything else. He crossed the diner with quick steps and stopped in front of the table where Sarah and Lily were sitting. "Hi." The two looked up at him at the same time, surprised. "Hi," Lily replied, blinking her bright eyes. "Do you want to eat with us? My dad said you can." Sarah blinked several times, confused. "What?" Liam pointed to Ethan, who was already standing up and walking toward them. "Pardon his excitement," Ethan said with a lopsided smile. "But he's right. Would you like to have dinner with us?" Sarah flushed immediately. She shook her head. "No, thank you. We can't." "Please," Liam asked, looking directly at Lily. "I have a toy car. I can show you later." Lily looked at her mother with those bright eyes, full of desire, but without saying anything. "Mom," Sarah bit her lip. She was clearly uncomfortable, but also visibly touched by the kindness of these two strangers. Ethan crouched slightly, bringing himself down to her level. No pressure, but we have plenty of food, and it would be nice for the kids, if you allow it, of course. There was something in his voice. It wasn't pity, it was respect, as if he knew she had her pride and he was just offering a bridge. Sarah looked at Lily. She looked at Liam. She looked at Ethan, trying to find some hidden motive. She found nothing but sincerity. She sighed. All right, thank you. Liam celebrated quietly. He grabbed Lily's hand without ceremony. Come on. The two children ran ahead. Sarah slowly stood up, still feeling awkward, adjusting her old bag on her shoulder. Ethan waited for her to pass and walked beside her. My name is Ethan. This is Liam. Sarah, and this is Lily. Nice to meet you, Sarah. She just nodded. When they reached the table, Ethan called the attendant and ordered another full meal, orange juice and extra fries. The attendant quickly wrote it all down and brought it over. Ethan placed the steaming plate in front of Lily. For you, Lily looked at her mother, asking for silent permission. Sarah nodded, her eyes shining. The girl carefully picked up the fork and began to eat, slowly, chewing thoroughly, without rush, but also without hiding that she was genuinely hungry. Liam ate, next to her, chatting between bites. Do you like cars? I do. I have a red one. It's the fastest of all. I've never had a toy car. Liam stopped chewing and looked at her as if that were impossible. Never? Lily shook her head. Then you can play with mine, he said, already pulling the metal car out of his jacket pocket and placing it on the table. Lily's eyes sparkled like two stars. Really? Really? Look how fast it goes. Liam made the car slide across the table, making engine noises with his mouth. Lily laughed, a clear and joyful laugh that made Sarah close her eyes for a second. Ethan watched everything in silence. Something special was happening there. It was connection. It was humanity. Sarah watched her daughter with a tightening in her heart. Ethan noticed. He didn't say anything. He just nudged the basket of fries a little closer to her. Eat. It's still warm. Sarah hesitated but took a fry. It was delicious. She couldn't even remember the last time she had eaten something warm like this, unhurriedly, without guilt. Thank you, she said softly. No need to thank me. Yes, I do. You don't even know me. Ethan shrugged. Liam extended the invitation. I just followed his lead. She smiled for the first time since she entered the diner. A small smile, but real. He's very kind. I learned from him, actually, Ethan said, looking at his son. Sarah blinked, surprised. What do you mean? Ethan continued watching Liam, who was now making the car fly through the air while Lily laughed. I spent a lot of time focused on work. I forgot what really matters. Liam reminds me of that every day. Sarah didn't know what to say. The simplicity of that confession caught her off guard. So she just ate another fry and let the silence speak for her. The children chatted nonstop. Lily laughed more than Sarah had seen in weeks. Liam was radiant, showing off the car, telling invented stories. Did you see how it flies? Liam held the car up in the air. Vroom, vroom, Lily imitated, holding up her little hands. The two laughed together as if they were siblings. Ethan glanced sideways at Sarah. They're already best friends. They are, she agreed, her voice soft. Lily doesn't usually talk this much. Neither does Liam. He's quieter at home. Sarah looked at him, curious. Really? Really? I think kids recognize kids. Maybe, Sarah murmured. They continued eating. The conversation was light, not forced. Ethan asked where she lived, if Lily went to school. Simple things. Sarah answered without going into detail. He didn't press. When they finished, Lily pushed the empty plate away and sighed contentedly. That was delicious. That's good, Ethan said. Do you want dessert? Lily's eyes lit up, but Sarah quickly answered. No, thank you. You've done too much already. Mom, Lily began, but stopped when she saw her mother's expression. Ethan sensed the tension and changed the subject. It's okay. But if you want to come back here, another day we can arrange it. The kids enjoyed playing together. Sarah looked at Lily, who was holding Liam's toy car like a treasure. Perhaps, she said, without promising anything. Liam jumped off his chair. Lily, come look. You can make it go up like this. See? He placed the car on the back of the chair and made it slide down as if it were a ramp. Lily laughed and tried to do the same. Ethan and Sarah watched in silence. The diner continued its normal activity around them, but right there at that table, a bubble of peace seemed to exist. "Thank you. Truly," Sarah said again, this time looking directly at him. "You have no idea how much this meant." Ethan held her gaze for a second. There was something there. Tiredness, yes, but also strength, dignity. "I think I do," he replied. She looked away, too emotional. After a few minutes, Sarah stood up and called her daughter. "Lily, sweetheart, we need to go." Lily pouted but obeyed. She carefully gave the toy car back to Liam. "Thank you for letting me play." "Keep it," Liam said, pushing the car back toward her. "What? No, I can't. I have others at home. This one is yours now." Lily looked at her mother, uncertain. Sarah was visibly touched but couldn't deny her this. "All right, but only if you thank him properly." Lily turned to Liam and, without warning, gave him a hug. A tight hug, the kind children give when they really like someone. "Thank you so much." Liam turned red up to his ears but smiled broadly. "You're welcome." Sarah picked up her old bag and prepared to leave. Before going, she took some crumpled bills out of her jeans pocket. "Let me pay for Lily's part, at least." Ethan raised his hand, gentle but firm. "No need. It was my pleasure, really." Sarah slowly put the money away, fighting her pride, but in the end, she just nodded. "Thank you, Ethan, from the bottom of my heart." "See you next time, Sarah." She smiled faintly, a tired but grateful smile, and left with Lily through the door. The little girl waved to Liam through the glass window, holding the red toy car tenderly. Liam waved back, still smiling, watching the two disappear down the street. When they were out of sight, Ethan sat down again and looked at his son. "You're incredible. You know that?" Liam shrugged, still looking out the window. "She was hungry, Dad." Ethan ran a hand through his son's hair and smiled, feeling his heart swell with pride. Sometimes the most important lessons came from the smallest people. And that night, in a simple diner with warm lights and old tables, two families left with their hearts a little lighter than when they had entered. Sunday dawned sunny. Sarah decided to take Lily to the park. It didn't cost anything, and the girl deserved some fun. She prepared 2 simple sandwiches, filled a water bottle, and they walked out of the house. The park was small but nice. A few swings, a slide, wooden benches under the trees. There were always children running everywhere, shouting, laughing, being kids. "Can I go on the swing, Mom?" "You can, love, but stay where I can see you." "Okay." Lily ran off, her worn sneakers hitting the dirt ground. Sarah sat on an empty bench, placed her bag beside her, and watched her daughter. Lily climbed onto the swing and started swinging, her blonde hair flying in the wind. Sarah smiled. Moments like this were rare, but they were worth everything. Suddenly, Lily stopped swinging. She looked toward one side of the park and her eyes widened. "Liam!" She jumped off the swing and ran. Sarah immediately stood up, trying to see where her daughter was going, and then she saw him. Liam was near the slide with a ball in his hands, and beside him, in jeans and a simple t-shirt, was Ethan. Lily ran up to Liam without any hesitation. "Liam, it's you!" The boy turned and his face lit up. "Lily!" The two hugged like old friends who hadn't seen each other in years. Ethan smiled at the scene and looked up, searching. He found Sarah standing a few feet away. Their eyes met. He smiled and waved. Sarah waved back, feeling her face warm up slightly. Ethan walked toward her with his hands in his pockets. "Hi." "Hi," Sarah replied, still a little awkward. "Quite a coincidence, huh?" "It is. I didn't expect to see you here." "We come almost every Sunday," Ethan said, looking at the children who were already playing with the ball. "Liam loves this park." "Lily does too. It's her favorite place." Ethan pointed to the bench. "Want to sit down? I think they'll be playing for a while." Sarah hesitated, but eventually agreed. "All right." The two sat on the bench, maintaining a respectful distance. They watched the children in silence for a few minutes. Liam kicked the ball to Lily, who ran after it, laughing loudly. "They look like siblings," Ethan commented. "They really do," Sarah agreed, smiling faintly. They talked for over an hour about simple things, old movies they liked, favorite foods, places they'd like to visit someday. It wasn't anything profound, but it was real, and the two felt something growing there, a friendship, a connection. When the sun began to set, Sarah stood up. "I think we need to go." "We do too, it's getting late," they called the children, who came running, complaining. "All ready, Mom?" "All ready, my love. Tomorrow is a school day." Lily pouted but obeyed. She turned to Liam. "Bye, Liam." "Bye, Lily. Will we see each other again?" Lily looked at her mother, full of hope. "Maybe, sweetheart, if we run into each other again." Liam looked at his dad. "Dad, can we come back here next Sunday?" Ethan looked at Sarah, who blushed slightly. "We can. We usually come anyway." Sarah nodded, not promising anything, but not denying it either. "Then maybe we'll see each other. Maybe." The Sundays at the park became routine. Every week Sarah and Lily arrived around 10 a.m., and every week Ethan and Liam were already there waiting. The children ran to each other the second they saw each other. Ethan and Sarah greeted each other with discreet smiles and sat on the same bench as always. Ethan always brought snacks, sometimes sandwiches with different fillings, sometimes fresh-cut fruit, sometimes homemade cookies he claimed to have made with Liam. He always said he had made too much or that it was left over from the week. Sarah knew he was lying, but she accepted with silent gratitude because she knew he did it to preserve her dignity. But that Sunday, Ethan noticed something different. Sarah was quieter. Her eyes had a shadow that hadn't been there before. She smiled when Lily talked to her, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Her shoulders seemed heavier, as if carrying an invisible weight. He didn't ask, not in front of the children. They watched Liam and Lily play for a while. The two children had invented a crazy game where they pretended to be superheroes, saving the park from imaginary villains. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked softly, glancing sideways at Sarah. Sarah blinked, taken by surprise. "Me?" She forced a smile and looked away. "I am. Just tired." Ethan nodded slowly but didn't look convinced. The truth was, things had gotten much worse. Sarah had lost 3 jobs that month. Monday's regular client, the most guaranteed job she had, sent a message saying her daughter was moving in and would take care of the house. Mrs. Christina found another cleaning person who charged less. Mrs. Paula kept canceling last minute, and the rent had increased. $200 more per month. $200 she didn't have. Sarah spent nights sitting at the kitchen table with all the bills spread out in front of her, doing the math again and again. No matter how she calculated it, the result was always the same. She wouldn't make it. But at the park, she tried to forget. She tried to just be present, watching her daughter laugh. One Sunday, Ethan brought up something casual. "Sarah, I have some friends who are looking for someone to do day cleaning. Can I give them your number?" Sarah turned her face quickly to him, her eyes wide. "Really? Really, they're trustworthy people. I've known them for years, if you want, of course." Her eyes filled with tears that she held back forcefully, blinking several times. I do want to. Yes, thank you." Ethan shrugged as if it were no big deal. "I'll send them your number today. They'll probably call you this week." "Thank you, Ethan, truly." He looked at her with that calm gaze full of understanding. "We help those we care about." Sarah looked away, her heart beating faster. She felt her cheeks warm. The following Wednesday, Sarah received 3 calls, all from Ethan's friends, all needing cleaners for day jobs, all offering fair pay and flexible hours. Sarah accepted all 3. For the first time in weeks, she felt she could breathe. One Thursday, Sarah had managed to secure a day job in a luxury building through one of Ethan's referrals. The building was impressive. Marble lobby, security at the entrance, mirrored elevator. The apartment was on the 12th floor. It was huge and completely empty, being prepared for sale. The realtor quickly explained, "I need you to leave everything spotless. We're showing the apartment this afternoon to some important clients. You can count on me." Sarah put on her work clothes and started cleaning. Around 2 p.m., she was kneeling in the living room, cleaning the floor with a cloth. The bucket of water and soap was beside her. Her hands were red from scrubbing so much. She was so focused that she didn't even hear the footsteps in the hallway. The door suddenly opened. Sarah looked up, startled. A man in a suit entered, gray hair, a leather briefcase. Behind him came 3 others, 2 assistants with tablets, an investment manager with glasses. And then Ethan Sterling walked in. Sarah felt her heart stop. He was wearing a suit, an impeccable dark suit that probably cost more than she earned in 6 months. A white shirt without a single crease, a perfectly aligned navy blue tie, shining shoes. His hair was combed back. His posture was straight, confident. The expression on his face was serious, focused. He was talking on his cell phone as he entered. "Yes, I saw the numbers. The appreciation is within expectations. We can close." His voice was firm, assured, authoritative. It wasn't the soft voice that talked to her at the park. It was the voice of someone who commanded millions. Sarah was paralyzed, still kneeling on the floor, the bucket beside her, the wet cloth in her hand, her old work clothes clinging to her body. The realtor began to speak, pointing to different parts of the apartment. "As you can see, the space is ample. 3,000 square feet, 3 suites, gourmet balcony, privileged view." Ethan hung up his phone and looked around with analytical eyes. "How much will the renovation cost?" "We estimate between 80 and 100,000, the investment manager replied. "It's worth it. What's the estimated resale value after renovation?" 2.5 million, maybe 2.8 if we do premium finishes. Ethan nodded. "Let's go with the premium finish. I want a quick closing, 2 weeks maximum." He walked through the apartment with firm steps. He looked at details. He asked technical questions. He spoke of huge numbers as if they were nothing. Sarah was partially hidden by the door. They hadn't noticed her yet. She couldn't take her eyes off Ethan. He was powerful, elegant, influential, completely different from the Ethan at the park. That was Ethan Sterling, the billionaire, the investor, the man who moved millions with a signature. And she was here, kneeling on the floor in old clothes with hands red from cleaning, a cleaning lady. The shame hit like a wave, strong, suffocating. I don't belong in his world. The thought came, painful. She had been naive. She had thought they were the, same. That he was just a single dad trying to raise his son, someone like her. But he wasn't. He belonged to that world of expensive suits, of million-dollar apartments, of decisions that changed lives with a stroke of a pen. And she cleaned the floors of those apartments. One of the assistants turned in her direction. Sarah quickly stood up, grabbed the bucket with trembling hands, and slipped out the side door that led to the utility area. She closed the door behind her and leaned against it, her heart pounding wildly. She heard the voices continue in the living room. Ethan talking about renovations, numbers being discussed. When the voices moved away, Sarah quickly grabbed her things. She didn't finish the cleaning. She couldn't stay there. She left via the service stairs, went down 12 flights without stopping. When she reached the ground floor, she was breathless, but she didn't stop. She hurried through the lobby with her head down and walked out onto the street. Only when she was far away, 2 blocks away, did she stop and lean against a wall. The tears came without warning. She cried there in the street, hidden behind the old sunglasses she carried in her bag. She cried for the shame, for the humiliation, for the absurd difference between their 2 worlds. She cried because she had started to like him, to trust him, to imagine that maybe. But no, there was no maybe. She was just another person he helped, a charity project, someone he felt pity for. She wiped her tears away angrily and went home. That night, Ethan sent a message. "Hi, Sarah. How was your day?" She stared at the message for long minutes. She only replied the next day. "Busy. Lots of gigs. Short, curt." Ethan found it strange but didn't press. On Saturday, he sent another message. "Will we see you tomorrow at the park?" Sarah took hours to reply. "I won't be able to make it. I have a day job on Sunday too." It was a lie. But she couldn't see him. Not after what she had seen. Ethan frowned as he read the reply. It wasn't like her. On Sunday, Ethan and Liam went to the park as usual. Liam kept looking at the entrance the whole time, waiting to see Lily appear. "Dad, where's Lily?" "She's not coming today, champ. Her mom is working. But she always comes on Sunday." "I know, but sometimes things change." Liam was quiet, kicking the grass. "I miss her." Ethan ran a hand through his son's hair. "Me too." And it was true. He missed Lily and Sarah. He missed their conversations, the way she smiled, the way she looked at her daughter with so much love. He sent another message midweek. "Hi, is everything okay? You disappeared." Sarah read it and didn't reply. Ethan started to get worried. He tried calling. She didn't answer. He sent more messages, short replies when there was a reply. "I'm fine, just busy. We'll talk later." But later never came. Lily noticed something was wrong. "Mom, are we not going to the park anymore?" "We are, love. Just not right now." "But I want to see Liam." "I know, but Mom is very busy with work." Lily pouted but didn't insist. But Sarah saw the sadness in her daughter's bright eyes, and that hurt more than anything. Ethan, in turn, didn't understand anything. He reread their conversations, trying to find something he might have said wrong. He found nothing. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks without seeing each other, without talking properly. Ethan felt an emptiness he hadn't felt in years, since his wife died. He had gotten used to Sarah, her presence, the way she made him feel. And now she had disappeared without explanation, without apparent reason. And he didn't know why. Because he hadn't seen her in that apartment. He had no idea she was there, kneeling, cleaning the floor while he talked about millions. He didn't know she had seen who he really was, the world he came from. He didn't know she had felt small, invisible, unworthy. All Ethan knew was that Sarah had pulled away. And that hurt more than he expected. Much more. Ethan endured 3 weeks. 3 weeks of unanswered messages, of empty Sundays at the park with Liam asking about Lily. On Saturday night, he made a decision. He would go to her house. On Sunday morning, he drove to Sarah's neighborhood and climbed the stairs to apartment 304. He knocked 3 times. The door slowly opened. Sarah appeared. Loose blonde hair, old sweatpants, her eyes wide with surprise. "Ethan." "Hi. What are you doing here?" "I needed to see you." Sarah looked nervous. I'm busy right now." "Sarah, please, 5 minutes." She stepped out into the hallway and closed the door, crossed her arms defensively. "You disappeared," Ethan said. "I was busy." "I know it's not just that. What happened? Did I do something wrong?" She shook her head, tears gathering. "You didn't do anything wrong." "Then why did you run away?" Sarah's tears streamed down. "I saw you at the building 3 weeks ago. I was cleaning a luxury apartment. You came in, impeccable suit, talking about millions." Her voice broke. "And I was kneeling, cleaning the floor." Ethan felt his heart clench. He hadn't seen her. "I understood who you really are," she continued. "And I don't belong in that world, Ethan. You're a billionaire. I cleaned floors. I felt so small." Ethan stepped forward and gently held her wrists, pulling her hands from her face. "Look at me." She raised her eyes, tears flowing. Ethan held her face in both hands. "I don't care about status. I don't care about money. None of that matters to me. What matters is who you are, and you are incredible, strong, brave. You raised Lily alone. You never give up." Sarah sobbed. "You and Lily made us feel alive again," he said. "I don't want to lose you." "I was scared," she whispered, "of not being enough." Ethan pulled her into a hug. "You are more than enough. You are perfect." Sarah cried in his chest, releasing everything. "I'm sorry," she finally said. "Don't be. I just wanted to understand." She looked up. "I was starting to really like you, and that scared me." Ethan smiled. "I was starting to like you too. When you disappeared, it hurt." "Liam is downstairs," he said. "He wants to see Lily." Sarah's eyes brightened. "She asks about him every day." "So, shall we make them happy?" Sarah nodded, smiling. "Let's go." 6 months later, the two families were at the park for a planned picnic. Lily and Liam ran between trees, chasing butterflies, laughing. Sarah rested her head on Ethan's shoulder as they sat on the blanket. The sun began to set, painting the sky orange and pink. "Sarah," Ethan said softly. She turned to him. "After I lost my wife, I thought I'd never love again. My heart closed. But then you came along, you and Lily. You opened my heart again." Tears formed in Sarah's eyes. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too," he replied. They kissed softly. Giggles interrupted them. Lily and Liam stood watching with huge smiles. "You were kissing," Lily laughed. "Come here, you too," Ethan called. The children jumped on them. They all fell onto the blanket, laughing. When they calmed down, the four lay side by side, looking at the darkening sky. "Look, the first star," Lily said. After making wishes, Lily sat up. "Can I ask something?" "Of course, love," Sarah said. Lily looked at them. "Are we a family now?" Sarah's throat tightened. Ethan held her hand. Liam propped up. "We are, right, Dad?" Ethan looked at his son, at Lily, at Sarah. He smiled. "Yes, we are a family." Sarah pulled Lily close. "Yes, my love, we are." Lily and Liam screamed with joy and hugged. Ethan pulled them all into a group hug. They embraced, laughing and crying. It was messy, imperfect, beautiful. As they drove home, children chattering in the back, Ethan held Sarah's hand. "Are you happy?" he asked. Sarah looked at the children, then at him. "More than I thought possible." "Me too." And there, in that car, two people who thought they'd never find love again discovered that love always finds a way. Sometimes it starts in a simple diner when a 5-year-old boy sees a hungry girl and says, "She's hungry, Dad." A love that saved 2 broken hearts and united 2 lonely families. A love that would last forever.